Hey everyone, welcome back to the Everest Crash Course series. I'm Lawrence, and in this episode, we're diving into a topic that sounds kind of boring at first, until you realize it's actually one of the most powerful tools to take control of your life: budgeting. Budgeting isn't about cutting out every coffee or never buying new shoes. It's about having a plan, a way to use your money in a way that supports your goals, not just your short term impulses. And when you learn this early, you set yourself up way ahead of the curve. So let's start with the basics. A budget is simply a plan for your money. It tells you what you'll do with the money you earn or receive, whether that's from an allowance, a part-time job, birthday cash, or anything else. The truth is, without a plan, most of us just spend. We go with the flow and wonder where our money went afterwards. But with the budget, you tell your money where to go before it disappears. Think of it like this: you wouldn't build a house without a blueprint. Budgeting is a blueprint for your financial life. One of the first keys to budgeting is understanding needs versus wants. Needs are the essentials, like food, water, shelter, or transportation. Wants are nice to haves, like new clothes you already have other versions of, name brand stuff, takeout, subscriptions, and so on. For example, let's say you need shoes, but you want a $200 pair of sneakers when an $80 pair would work just fine. Recognizing the difference doesn't mean you can't get the $200 pair, but you're making that choice intentionally, not out of habit. It's not about never spending on wants. It's about spending smarter. If you delay some wants now, you give yourself more room to invest in your future wants and dreams later. Here's a simple framework that helps a lot of people, especially beginners. It's called the 50-30-20 rule. It breaks your income down like this: 50% goes to needs, things you must pay for, like groceries and monthly bills. 30% goes to wants, fun things like games, clothes, hobbies, or streaming services. And 20% goes to saving and investing, a Roth IRA, ETFs, or just your savings account. For instance, say you make $100 from a side hustle this month. You aim to put $50 toward essentials, maybe your bus pass for transportation, $30 towards stuff you enjoy, like a new hoodie or a movie night, and $20 into saving or investing. It's flexible. You can shift these percentages based on your life and circumstances, but I'd recommend to always save and invest as much as possible, more than 20%, when it can occur. The point is to always save something and to think in categories instead of random spending. There's another way to think about budgeting that I personally like a lot. It's called pay yourself first. Here's how that works. Every time you get paid, the first thing you do is put money into savings or investments. From there, you live on what's left. This flips the usual mindset, because instead of saving what's left over at the end of the month, which, let's be honest, could be nothing at all, you make saving a priority, not an afterthought. Even if it's just $10, you're building the habit of choosing long-term value over short-term comfort and impulse. Okay, now let's talk credit cards, because most budgeting advice skips this, but it's very crucial. A credit card is really a form of loan at heart. It lets you borrow money to spend now with the expectation that you'll pay it back later, with interest if you don't pay in full. If you only pay the minimum, the leftover balance racks up interest, often at rates 20% or over. So that $100 shirt, it could end up costing you more than $125 if you carried a balance for too long. Because of that, budgeting helps you track spending, avoid buying things you can't afford, and then pay off your full credit card balance on time, which builds good credit. I think now's a perfect time to talk about something that sounds kind of boring to a lot of people, but is actually super powerful: credit scores. If budgeting is your blueprint, your credit score is like your financial reputation. Here's how it works. When you use a credit card or take out any kind of loan, like for a car or college, you're being trusted to pay it back. Your credit score is the number that tells banks, lenders, and even landlords how trustworthy you are with your money. Credit scores range from 300 to 850, and the higher, the better. So here's a quick breakdown of what affects it. First is payment history. This is a very key one. Do you pay on time? Even one missed payment can hurt your credit score. Then there's amounts owed. How much of your credit are you using? The lower, the better. There's also length of credit history. The longer you've had credit, the more reliable you seem. There's new credit. Too many credit card applications at once can lower your score. And finally, there's the credit mix. This means having different types of credit, like loans and credit cards, which can typically help, but it's not necessary at first. The big one is really just paying your bills on time, every single time. That's where budgeting comes in. If you're budgeting smart, you're tracking what you owe and never spending more than you can pay back. That means when your credit card bill comes, you're ready. No stress and no scrambling. So it helps you avoid late payments, spend within your means, keep your credit card balance low, and pay off your full statement balance each month, which means no interest on those credit cards. For instance, let's say you get a student credit card with a $500 limit. A solid budget helps you stay under, say, $150 of that and pay it off on time. That's a win-win. You're showing you can borrow money and manage it responsibly. So what's the point of all this? Well, a good credit score can help you do a lot of things. It can help you get approved for apartments since landlords check your credit. It can help you buy a car or house with better loan terms since you'll be seen as more trusted. It'll help you save thousands in interest over your lifetime and qualify for better credit cards and rewards programs. You could even get certain jobs that check credit as part of the hiring process. Meanwhile, a bad credit score can mean higher interest rates, loan rejections, or needing a parent to co-sign things well into adulthood. The risks of a bad credit score are talked about more in our previous video, so go check that out if you haven't already. With all this said, let's be super clear just one last time. Credit cards are never free money. They're tools, and just like any tool, they can help you build something amazing or cause damage if you don't know how to use them. That's why budgeting is so powerful. It's not just about saving money. It's about building habits that lead to financial freedom. The takeaway here is this. Credit scores aren't just for adults. They start building when you're young, and if you play it right and understand it, by the time you're 22, you could have excellent credit, giving you access to things that most people don't even think about until later. And it all starts with knowing where your money's going. That's budgeting. We've talked a lot about the risks of bad budgeting today, but let's say you've budgeted well and you've got $50 saved up. Well, what now? Here's where things get exciting, and it's what our next episode is all about, saving versus investing. But to give you a head start, a savings account is a safe place to park your money. It earns a little interest and it's easily accessible. Investing, like in index funds or a Roth IRA, both of which we'll talk about next time, means putting your money into something that can grow more over time, but it comes with more risk. A quick example here. If you put $100 in a savings account that earns 1% a year, you'll have $101 next year. But if you invest that same $100 in something that grows at 8% a year, that's $108 next year, and over $2,300 after 30 years. But it's also important to note that investment with more money back will have more risk. That's why saving and investing should be part of your budget, not just something you think about later. So to wrap things up, budgeting isn't about being strict, it's about being strategic. When you budget, you're building a lifestyle of intention. So you're not cutting off fun, you're just making sure today's fun doesn't steal from tomorrow's dreams. Start small, track your spending for just 1 week, try using the 50-30-20 rule or some other mental framework. Test out a savings goal, set up a spreadsheet, or use an app. Just do something and take action. And when you're ready to grow that savings into real wealth, stick around, because our next episode is all about how to start investing as a teen, even if you don't have too much money yet. Because when you know where your money is going, you take back control. So until next time, keep learning and take the next step towards reaching your financial Everest.